Okay, cool. All right, just to give you a bit of a background for who I am, I'm a business analyst within bitgrit, and I'm going to be acting as the facilitator for this meeting today. So just to give you a bit of a rundown about how we're going to do this, first off, we'll probably get each of the team members that are in the meeting to just give a little introduction about themselves, and who they are, what they do within the business, that sort of thing, what our experiences are. Then I'll give you a bit of an idea of a rough overview of what bitgrit's vision is and what our solution is. Then we're going to start talking. If you have a look at the agenda, we're going to have a quick discussion from our head of technology, Gautam, who is going to be just talking about the roadmap in both short term and the long term. Then we're going to jump on to our blockchain and the specialist, who's going to doing with opening up our repository, making them open source. Along with that, we're talking about opening up our smart contract repositories. Then we'll be discussing our collaboration with Kubeflow and creating CRDs in Kubernetes, and as well as our competition platform feature status and how we're going to develop that. So probably first off, we'll get Gautam, if you'd be able to give a little bit of intro about who you are and where you come from, what you do, where you're based, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So it's clear. It'd be easy for other people to understand. Yeah, thank you. So hi, I'm Gautam, and I'm basically heading the tech right now at bitgrit. Before this, I've worked immensely on AI and data science. But besides that, I've also worked a lot on engineering. So mostly full stack development, from mobile development, all kinds of application to handling, maintaining software that is run by billions of people and are used by billions of people. So I've worked on small scale to basic scale, so software. So right now at bitgrit, we are at the very starting phase. So we have to build our software so that it scales up, because if we don't scale up, there might be problems. I'm keeping that in mind when I'm developing the software right now. And blockchain is still new to me. So blockchain is new to everyone, but it's also new to me. So I'm working, we are trying to get our blockchain and AI platform up and running as soon as possible. So I'm trying to handle the overall development. Feel free to ask any question related to tech to me anytime.
Cool, thanks for that, Gautam. Samit, would you like to go next?
Yeah, hi guys, I'm Samit. I've been working as a blockchain engineer at bitgrit. So to talk about blockchain, as Gautam says, since we are building something which is democratic in nature, decentralized in nature, the blockchain has to be an integral part of the application. So to start with, so we have developed a set of smart contracts which are still under production. Some of them are already out there, and the repository. So this is our first repository, our smart contract repository, which we have open source. I would like to paste the link maybe in the chat here so that you guys can have a look at it. Yeah, so it's there in the chat on the right panel if you want to see it. So this is our smart contract repository, and it's so it's based on basically Ethereum, and we have used Solidity as our programming language and Truffle as our development environment, right? So if you'll go over there, you'll see in the contracts folder that we have already developed some contracts related to our competition platform. So our tech or platform in all will contain of multiple components, and one of the components is competition. So we have currently started developing our smart contract for that particular platform, right? So I would like to encourage you all to at least have a look at it and see what we are building, what we are trying to do. And so the next portion of the smart contracts would be asking for you guys for your contribution, right? So since it's it's a blockchain, right? So blockchain is based out of the core of blockchain is basically decentralization, right? And nobody owns a piece of code or nobody owns a piece of asset. That's what blockchain is all about. So even in bitgrit, we don't want to own the entire smart contracts or the blockchain part with ourselves. So keep it ourselves. That's why we have open sourced it. Even the license, if you'll see, it's GNU GPL v3.0, right? So we encourage you all to have a look at our smart contract repository, see how you can contribute towards it. Contribution doesn't only mean that you have to contribute towards the code. You can contribute towards the feature. You can suggest a feature to be implemented, or you can contribute towards our README file, how you can improve it, or you can contribute toward test cases, or you can contribute towards testing our existing smart contract, see if we can find any issues, any bugs which you can raise, right? So all those contributions are much required, because it's a smart contract, and a single entity or a single user or owner cannot get it right in the first go. So yeah, we encourage you all to come forward, have a look at it, and contribute as much as you can. So guys, I'm open for all the questions related to blockchain, smart contract, bitgrit, anything you want to ask me, you can just ask on this call. Thank you, guys.
Cool, thanks for that, Smeet. I think we just sort of jumped ahead a little bit about talking about our repositories, but that's all good. Now, Shubham, would you like to give a bit of an introduction about who you are, what you do, all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Shubham. So right now I'm working as a blockchain engineer in bitgrit. So I handle blockchain related stuff, writing smart contracts and writing its test cases, and I'm also handling the DevOps part, building CI/CD pipelines, and mostly my work here to make everything easy around so developers can easily test, develop, and deploy their applications. Yeah, if you have any questions related blockchain and or pipeline, DevOps, anything, you can ask me. Yeah, that's it.
Cool, thanks, Shubham. Dharmendra, do you want to jump in next?
Yeah, hi everyone. This is Dharmendra. I'm working here I'm responsible for UI and UX, as well as the Python, Django, etc., etc. You can say code developer, and basically we are right now developing a platform for the data scientist, where you guys can come and submit your algorithms. We have some challenges over there, and
I'll jump into that in a little bit. Just more about yourself at this point.
So this is what actually. So right now I'm taking care of front end and back end database, etc., etc. A lot of technologies are there that I'm dealing with. So I think that's all. And I think Gautam will give the better idea about that.
Cool, thanks, Dharmendra. Verinder, do you want to go in next? And Narendra, are you able to use your microphone at the moment, or you're not able to talk right now? Okay, I guess Narendra's not able to jump on his mic right now, which is cool. Alrighty, just give me 1 second. All right, cool. All right, so just to give you a bit of a background about who we are at bitgrit and what our vision is and all those sorts of details. Basically, bitgrit was started back at the end of 2017, and its vision was to democratize AI. As you guys have probably noticed, AI at this point is highly monopolized to companies that have the infrastructure to be able to develop and properly deploy machine learning at scale. And this is sort of a problem because you don't want all the largest companies to be the only ones that are able to utilize AI in their systems. And in any sort of technological revolution, this causes all sorts of problems and inequality and all that sort of stuff. Another point that we wanted to do at bitgrit was to create a data science network to allow data scientists to connect to one another, to be able to provide information to each other, to provide education to each other, as well as to share employment opportunities. One of the biggest problems I think people face in data science is a lack of infrastructure. Gautam, you can probably explain that a little bit better than I can.
Sure. So, like infrastructure, we are mostly on. We are working with so many different technology. It's kind of hard to put it all in words in really short amount of time. It will take hours. before I started explaining it in complete detail, like the technology that we're using. But for the web part of the things, we are using Django. So most of our like web applications are written on Django. For the AIM side of things, or the side of things that um, deploying on a scale. So right now we are still on Kubernetes. We're just starting with Kubernetes on our AIM side of things. Like basically, like deploying. Kaggle has these kernel. So like we're building some like a bit of a similar feature where a user can come and write their AI models like directly without having to deal with setting their own computer. So it will be completely on cloud. They don't even have to have a computer for that. As a matter of fact, they can write their model on a mobile if things goes well. So that's the whole idea. Like the whole deployment would be on the server side. So like we are doing this with Kubernetes, but our DevOps pipeline right now is still not on Kubernetes yet. It's still on Jenkins, and we are using traditional Docker and other deployment methods for right now. We plan to shift to Kubernetes in the future. For blockchain, I think Sameep will be able to explain the architecture much better. But we are not trying to get our own wallet because the wallet situation in Japan is a bit tricky. There's like a lot of law related issues. So we are planning to use external wallet, and we are creating like an API endpoint so that we are able to call offer all the services that their wallet or like any crypto company or any dApps application would need, but our application would not be dApps. It would be interacting with the dApps endpoints through an API call. So that's the general overview of the architecture. I can keep it's way more detailed. So if you guys want to know in more detail, like what kind of how are we solving a specific problem, or what kind of problems are we solving, feel free to ask anytime.
Cool. Yeah, I think we're going to be running a Q&A session just at the end of our agenda. Just so that you guys know, bitgrit itself is currently based out of Japan, but we're an incredibly international team. So, for example, I'm based out of New Zealand. Gautam is based out of Tokyo. Dharmender, Sameep, Shubham, Narendra, they're all in India. We've got employees in Morocco, San Jose in the US. So we're all operating on these different time zones and from a very international sort of background. But we generally tend to operate on Japan time, just to let you guys know that. Yeah, cool. All right. So, Gordon, would you be able to give us a bit of a rough outline on the roadmap in the short term and the long term?
Yeah, for sure. So the first goal that we have, or the first thing that we are planning to make a public release is as in terms of product is competition platform. So which I think if we go with like the right speed and if things goes all well, then we should be able to get it out in like a couple of months. And then we are also launching dataset part of the application. So like that's already under construction right now, and basically it's an endpoint where people can upload their data set instead of like right now, like downloading it on personal computer. They can upload their data set on our server and then pull them directly into their Jupyter notebook in the future. Right now, but we'll be getting data sets from a lot of different clients, and they could be huge. So like the way we are building the application, like it could be like petabytes of data or terabytes of data, and we are building our software in a manner that we can still able to handle that kind of traffic or like that size of data sets. So that's one of the features that we'll also be launching. So like data sets, a user profile of course, and competition platform, like where people can participate in competition similar to like other software out there. So like it will improve it over time, but there will be the first few features coming out, and in the future, this is a short-term goal. Within the next 3 months, I see all these things in the hands of like our users, and once we have once we have these things up and running, the big picture or the long-term goal is to provide a complete end-to-end data science or AI-related freedom to users. So like as Sameep said, like we are building a democratic system, which is like AI is trapped right now into the hands of like rich and powerful. So if you think about it, like the amount of computation cost it needs to train a model on a scale of millions of users, and I'm not even counting like the deployment and like when the AI is running, that takes huge amount of computation and huge amount of cost, and that is out of the hands of an ordinary data scientist. So we'll build a solution where user can not only compete in building AI, but also can build a professional level AI, which could be scaled to millions of users, and he'll get royalty for the AIs that he built based on the clients calling his using his AI. So like if someone builds a really awesome, I don't know, food recognizer where you just send a picture of a food item and it tells you what dish it is. So like if it's a ramen or it's a hot dog, someone is successfully builds that AI, he can train it on our server with the right data set, which will be available, and then he can create an API endpoint, and like then clients can call this API endpoint, and they will be charged for each endpoint and a certain amount of royalty for each API call that they'll make. They'll get it back. So like we'll take some small fraction out of it because for the infrastructure and everything, but clients will be the one that will be paying like the data scientist directly. So like if you think about it, it's like YouTube for AI. So like basically anyone can build a video in YouTube and upload it, and then other people can watch it. So it's kind of democratic, and like the way they earn money is like through advertisement. We won't have advertisement. We'll be getting money from clients, and we'll be giving it to people who are writing the AI code. So it's really like reverse of rich getting richer. We're trying to get the money from rich to an ordinary person who's writing AI code. So that's why it's democratic in nature. And all this information will be written down on smart contract, through smart contract into blockchain. So basically, like everything is on paper. So like any data scientist who wrote an AI will have 100% right over his API endpoint. And any clients, he can everything will be on track. Every NDA that we'll sign with the client will be on blockchain. So like everything is 100% guaranteed to be authentic and like by lawfully done. So there will be no like shady kind of things going on. Like right now, for example, Google owns YouTube, and like no one knows how much Google is making out of this. How much exactly Google is making out of like an ordinary guy's video. But in our case, it will be written on a blockchain. So like everyone would know what percent we are making and what percent the person who made the AI is making, and what was the amount given by client. Everything will be out in the open. So there will be no secrecy, or there will be no manipulation going on. Sorry, yeah, if that makes sense.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Gavin. That was quite good, actually, quite in depth. Now, sorry, Narendra was having some problems with his microphone before. Narendra, do you want to just do your self-introduction just quickly?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Narendra. I'm working as a developer at bitgrit. Currently, I'm creating a library for GCP buckets operations, like doing CRUD operations on data sets to restore, retrieve, and add some more information to them as well. And I have also started contributing into development platform, which I just started. And if anybody has some questions related to CRUD operations for data sets, so definitely one can ask to me for that. Thank you.
Cool, thanks for that, Narendra. So just for the guys that came late, sorry to make you repeat yourself, Sameep, but would you be able to just briefly go through and summarize points 3 and 4 in the agenda? Just one more time.
Yeah, guys. So sorry. Actually, the first time Mel was asking for my introduction, and I, apart from doing my introduction, he gave the introduction. of the smart contracts. So sorry for that. So I'll be repeating that once again. So yeah, so as Gautam said, so we are building a democratic system, decentralized system, and where data scientists will be the one who will be creating their own AI algorithms and will be selling them to the organization, and they'll have complete control of whatever they build, right? So we'll be putting all that information onto the blockchain, right? So from the very beginning, right, from the data sets information, the NDAs, the coding, not the coding stuff, basically the selling stuff, and every other thing. So we have already started with that, and for now we have chosen Ethereum as our blockchain Go platform, right? So and our programming language is Solidity as of now, but we are trying to build applications in the sense that if in future if we have to move to some other blockchain platform, we'll be able to do that. So, but yeah, for now we have chosen Ethereum as our platform. So, so as Gautam said, that we are targeting in next couple of months to launch our competition platform, right? Which Gautam has already talked about. So we, as our blockchain team, we have already started working on our competition platform, right? So we already have some smart contracts in place, for to support our competition platform. Right. Yeah. But before that, just to let you guys know that we have already open sourced our smart contracts repository, right? So I've already pasted links once in the chat. I'll do that once again so that you guys get a ping for that. So this is our smart contract repository, and it's completely open source. And even the license is not very hard. It's GNU GPL version 3. So if you guys want to have a look at it, you can simply go over there, have a look at it, and see what all the smart contracts we have built, right? So it's based on Ethereum, Solidity, and Truffle, right? So yeah, so I was talking about competition platform, right? So the competition platform is a way of for organizations to launch their competitions where other data scientists come in, participate, and if they win, they get some reward. So we are moving all this part of our platform onto the blockchain. Yeah, you get when you start a competition, a contract is deployed, and all the metadata of the contract is stored in the information. How much a token is being given away as a prize is also recorded in the blockchain. And once you win something, or once you win the competition, or you get the solution right, you get some tokens and rewards. So in the future, you'll also see a token out there from bitgrit, right? So in a very near future, I think. Right. So that was the current status of our smart contract. So in the future we'll be adding data sets, smart contracts, the smart contracts to support data scientists and our other applications, our other platforms. But that will come along with the platforms as we move ahead, as we go ahead. So for now we have competitions in place. So now another thing which comes into place, with the smart contracts is the integration with our core platform. So as Gautam already said before, that we are not going to build our own wallets at the moment, or we are not going to have our own internal hosted wallets where we will be managing the private keys of the user. So that's not going to happen because of some security guidelines, restrictions within Japan. Right. So what we are planning to do is we are trying to use some external APIs. Right. So there are many external wallet providers which are out there. One of them is BitGo. Another one is Upfest. So there are several like these. Right. So we'll be using their APIs. We'll be using their services, and they'll be the one who will be actually managing the user private keys. So it totally depends on how much secure they are, right? Like BitGo is very much secure. So Bitgo is very much secure, then your private key is also very much secure, right? So that's what we'll be doing. We'll not be creating our own wallet to interact with the our smart contract blockchain, but we'll be using these external service providers, right? So that area is still under research, and we are working on it. But if you guys have any suggestions, or if you want to ask anything how we are trying to do this, so we would definitely love to hear your thoughts, your suggestions, or anything which you have in mind, because this is something which everybody is working upon, not only in bitgrit but in entire blockchain space is very new, and everybody is still trying to find out solution to the problem of private keys, right? So if you guys have some solution or some suggestions, we would love to hear your thoughts, right? And apart from that, since our smart contract repository is now open source, right? So since blockchain is decentralized in nature, the core of blockchain lies in sharing, lies in sharing your thoughts or everything with public and getting consensus from the public, not doing anything alone, right? So that's why blockchain came into existence. So keeping that in mind, we have open source of smart contract repositories. You can go over there and have a look at it. But we also would like you guys to contribute in any sense you can, right? So not just at the code level, Even if you want to suggest some features, you can simply go to the repositories and open a new issue for that. We'll have a look at it as a community, not as a company, but as a community, and we'll take a call whether we want to implement this solution or this particular feature into our platform or not. Or if you can suggest how to better structure our code, or if you can test out our code, our smart contracts, and see if you can find any issues, any bugs, and then detective can raise over there. So basically any kind of contribution is always welcome. So soon we'll be launching the contribution guidelines, maybe in next couple of days or in sometime in next week. And you can contribute your code or anything using that contribution guidelines. So guys, so for now, that's what we are doing in bitgrit on part of our blockchain. So if you have any questions, any suggestions, or anything, any contributions, we would love to hear you guys. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I would also like to add what Sameep said. Like, we'll be opening more and more repository as we progress. So, like, we plan to open like the library that Narendra is working on right now into open source really soon. Maybe within a month if things go well. So we'll be like open sourcing more and more stuff as we progress in our endeavors.
Yeah, exactly. So exciting times are ahead.
Cool, thanks for that, Sumit, and thanks, Gautam, for your inputs as well. Shubham, do you have anything to add to this as well? I understand you've got some thoughts too.
Yeah, so right now we are our vision is very large. So if you think in terms of like how much computing power a single machine learning model requires, like let's say if we are making a model for like image recognition, so model have to like go through like thousands and thousands of images, and that requires large amount of computing power. So we are right now designing such a large structure with like trillions of computing resources we have, and they are like computing every single seconds for all the users. And yeah, so it's quite a large task, and I don't think someone has done this before. and and just to interact with blockchain, and that is also to high scalability. So yeah, this is quite unique, which we are trying to build. Yeah, that's about
Cool,
it.
thanks, Shubham. All right, well, that finishes off with points 3 and 4, just talking about smart contracts and our repositories. Gautam, did you want to talk a little bit more about our collaboration with Qflow and point 5?
Yeah, so first let me try to quickly introduce what Qflow is. So Qflow, I'll post a link on our channel as well. So Qflow is one of the machine learning toolkit for Kubernetes that is initially developed by Google. So the idea is that people should be able to deploy models on Kubernetes, like I said before, which is what we are trying to do as well. So like it's very aligned to what we are trying to do. There's few differences. So like we don't need everything that Qflow is doing. So like Qflow has a lot of other things to offer, and it's completely open source, which is great. But the Qflow is not. It was initially developed by Google, but right now it's open source, and there's like a list of huge number of engineers and different companies collaborating together. So right now, like all the big names that you have, like from Amazon to Cisco to Alibaba to Uber, they're all contributing to Kubeflow, and bitgrit is also a part of it. So bitgrit is also taking part in making Kubeflow a better product. And we are also going to take, so like every company is contributing in the sense that they are going to use Kubeflow. They're going to like add the feature that they want in Kubeflow. So like same goes with bitgrit. Like we will be contributing the part that we feel we need, and like other people are open to like take that part and use it for themselves. So we are collaborating with Kubeflow to build the machine learning toolkit to deploy on Kubernetes. As I said like before, we want to be able to deploy, as Shubham explained, we want to be able to deploy like very strong machine learning models on cluster that requires huge computation power, and for that we'll be taking the route similar to what Qflow is doing. So like we're moving hand in hand about that. And like there are a few things that are very new. So like there is this library in Qflow called Fairing, which is the serves the exact same goal of like creating an endpoint, API endpoint for a trained model. So we'd be also contributing to that library in the future.
Cool, easy. Now, Demenda, I might get you to jump in on point 6, just talking about our current status of the competition platform that we're developing.
Yeah, hi everyone. So as I had discussed earlier also, that basically I'm getting some network issue, I think. Are you able to listen, Millennium?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yep.
Okay. So basically, hi, this is Dharmendra, and I'm working as a full stack engineer in bitgrit. And the technology that we are using right now is Python and Django. Before this, we had used Flask. So we are using a multiple level of technologies, you can say. So the current project that I'm involved with is on competition platform, and yeah, the thing is, everything that we are planning should be stored on our repository will be on Google, and everything will be remotely handled. You can say in one sentence, and uh, and of course, it will take time a little bit. It's because of its in development phase. So I suppose it will take a couple of months to be released on. So after that, you guys will be able to see those things. We will be able to participate in any competitions. So whatever you guys are if you have any suggestions or whatever you fails, you can share with me. You can share with us. So I think that's all. Autumn, you can continue. I think.
Yeah, so like we, as Dharminder said, like we'll be releasing it in like a couple months. One thing is like we are so like the three features that I talked about before: user profile, dataset, and competition. So right now we are on the middle of completing dataset, and we'd be finishing the whole thing in like couple in a couple months. Like the competition part is we have already designed it, and now we're going to start implementing the front end of competition maybe in like a couple weeks from now.
Cool, Izzy. Does anyone else have any comments on the competition platform? Anything from you, Shabam?
Yeah. So I have so right now we are using normal set of server for our competition, but in future we have like plan for moving to Kubernetes. And because when we have like large number of kernels running at the same time, we are also doing research on around scaling it. For blockchain, we are also researching on Lightning Network, so we can scale it very faster, and OpenStack for deploying computing power resources. Yeah, that's we are doing research on right now. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. Narendra, do you want to jump in with anything else, or should we move on to Q&A? You there, Narendra?
Yeah. Excuse me. Hello, hi Mel.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Regarding the library or what?
Just about competition status overall.
Okay, I had just started on competition actually.
Okay, cool. Well, if you don't have anything to add, that's okay. No stress. Well, in that case, I guess we'll jump into any questions and answers. So, if anybody that's in the audience would like to come in and talk, ask us any questions or any details that you want to know about, go ahead. If you're feeling a bit shy, you can always drop it into the message box. Cool. All right. Well, look, if we don't have any questions for today, what I think we're planning to do for the next OpenDev call is that we will probably create a form that people can post up things that they'd like to talk about, any topics in particular that they'd want to hear from us, or any questions that they have. So for next month's OpenDev call, which just let me double check the date on that. I believe that is July. That would be July the 13th, when we'll be running the next OpenDev call. So just to clarify to you guys, it's always going to be running on the second Saturday at the same time of every month. So what we'll do is we'll post up a form on both our Telegram, our Facebook page, the forum, on all of those sort of social media channels. And that way you guys can post up any questions that you have or anything that we want to talk about, and we'll be able to do that before the meeting. Before we wrap anything up, is there anything that anybody would like to say?
Yeah, so just so that everyone knows, like, even if it's outside this meeting, you guys have any question related to our technical progress, about our technology stack, anything, just feel free to post in any of our channel, Facebook, Telegram, and someone in the team will get back to you, and they will probably get the right person to answer your question. So feel free to ask question anytime on any of the channels. And we'll be open sourcing more and more code, as we told before. And we'll be posting contribution guidelines. So feel free to contribute and distribute the code, use it as you want. Like, depending on the license, we'll probably be having like a very flexible license if we are open sourcing it. So feel free to contribute or add any features that you guys might want.
Thanks for that, Gautam. Is there anything else from anybody else before we wrap everything up? Cool. All right. Well, I guess that's everything for tonight. What we'll do is we're going to post up the recording of this meeting, probably up on our Facebook channel. I think it's probably too big a file to be able to put in Telegram, but definitely we'll have it on the bitgrit community Facebook channel. Besides that, I think that's everything. Cool. If you need to, just post any questions that you have, either to our Facebooks, GitHub, anywhere else, and we'll try and get back to you with as much information we can as soon as possible. Besides that, I think that's it. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone for joining this meeting.
Thanks everyone.
Bye-bye, guys.
Thanks for joining us next time.